I'm interested in the sort of the empirical scenario that plays out between the UK and Scotland. Is it going to be, you know, a pushing, shoving match of just fighting over who has what role in leadership, or is it going to be an opportunity to actually work together? And I don't think that there's good evidence to support either one of those, or so it's a spectrum, right? It could be somewhere in between. Um, I mean, the UK is very much the president of the Conference of Parties. Scotland is not even a party to the convention, right? Scotland, as a devolved nation, is not a signatory to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, and we don't have precedent for this. This is the first time ever that a devolved nation, which there's probably not tons of those, in states throughout the world, but that has hosted. There is plenty of strong evidence. Academic analyses that have been done, published peer-reviewed research, to show that the presidency of a conference can have a strong effect for good or for ill. There's been a few case study examples comparing Copenhagen, Denmark in 2009, and that being an example of where the host presidency really sort of maybe dropped the ball and led to a not very successful outcome to the conference. And that's been contrasted with the case of Cancun, Mexico in 2010, and that one being much more effective, again, through the role of the leadership of the presidency. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. You could have the UK pushing Scotland, and Scotland pushing the UK to higher levels of ambition. One piece of encouraging evidence, and I mentioned at the very beginning, is this parliamentary inquiry that's been done by the Scottish Affairs Committee, that's happening right now. It'll be occurring over the next couple of months, into looking at renewable energy production in Scotland. And so, if something that might come out of this is the UK government saying, for example, okay, well, we're making large structural investments into renewable energy infrastructure, or some sort of, carbon neutral infrastructure in Scotland. And that sort of an action could then push Scottish policy further, because they know that there's going to be some sort of structural investment, and it's not all sort of a Scottish government funding that's going into these, and so it could lead to higher ambition. And then so the UK could use Scotland as the test example, which it seems that's possibly their interest here, is to use Scotland as a test example to say, look at all these wonderful things that we're doing, showcase that to the world, but then allow Scotland to up their own ambition, which could lead to a positive cycle. I think it was only in the last week or two that also there was announced a I mean, this has been going back and forth for a decade, but there's always these carbon capture and storage projects that the UK government's talking about funding, and they're going to give funding, but then it's pulled, and then it doesn't happen. But it seems now that there actually is a carbon capture and storage project going forward in Aberdeenshire. And so that it wasn't a huge amount of money. It might have been like 30 million or something pounds that was given to it. But I mean, it's something. It's a start. And so I think that could be another example of trying to position Scotland as sort of the demonstration site for all things positive going towards net zero. And so, yeah, that could lead to Scotland then increasing its own ambition, which would push the UK government forward.